Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports, breaking down the NBA. Brian versus the books, and we have a newcomer, Josh Landers. Josh, welcome. What's going on? I don't know if we should start with you or we should just start with Brian apologizing for his Sixers performance, but you guys can figure out among yourselves what's going on, guys.
Well, I would say I want an apology as well for anybody that was listening to me talk about James Harden. I started by fading him, and then I for some reason didn't believe myself and thought I would believe in him for game two, and that was a mistake. So that's my
Yeah,
apology.
I would like to also apologize for my Sixers performance, and also I took Embiid's assist, and I felt weird about it because I was like everyone was taking it, but man, I was kind of in the believing with you there, Josh, where I thought even if he's not healthy, he could still be Joel Embiid. But if you watch that game, I was shocked. I really thought they're going to run more through the post with him. He did not get any offensive touches. It was kind of wild. Like the first quarter, I gave up my prop because I counted he had one touch in the post, and I was like, dude, if he's not getting those post ups, they're not going to play through him. He's not 100%, and it was a whole thing. So it really did look like the Sixers were just trying to get him moving for once after like 2 weeks.
And that's my theory as well. I think my theory is a little less sinister than your theory, Will, though, on why Embiid was out there.
I just look. I don't know that it is a little skeptical, a little cynical. Where I just don't think it was a good look for Embiid, like to accept the MVP award on a night he's not going to play, sitting there in street clothes. People are like, all right, this guy's the MVP, can't even play. I think he wanted to. I just don't think he wanted to do it. I just don't think he wanted to accept it on a night he was hurt.
I
So maybe
also
that's me being cynical.
I also think it didn't really click in my head until the TNT crew were saying it, but it's been 13 days since game 3. Like, it's so funny where it doesn't feel like that, but that's what they were saying. They were just saying like, "Oh, they're probably just trying to get beat out there. Hasn't played in 2 weeks." And in my head I was thinking, "Oh, wow, it's been 2 weeks. It doesn't feel that way." But they had that long gap because we had so much basketball going on. Kind of forgot there was that week gap between games where yeah, he hasn't played in 13 days. I think it
Yeah,
was almost like a way to get him a little involved
yeah,
before.
because that was that Thursday night. It was game 3 where him and Claxton were Claxton. He kicked Claxton and they were going back and forth. And remember, he finished that game. And then we're like, oh, he might not. I remember betting the Nets in game 4 right after. It's like, oh, I think Embiid's going to be suspended. Then he wasn't suspended, but he didn't play because he was hurt. So I don't know
Right.
if you guys saw this today, but he said it's like a 4 to 6 week injury and he shouldn't have been
Yeah.
out there. So
Yeah.
um, series price Celtics are like minus 230 here. Man, if Embiid's just not going to be Embiid, I have a hard time. I know they have home court now and they just got to take care of business at home and win. I just have a hard time seeing them win if he's just not going to be Embiid. What are your guys' thoughts here? Boston, a small favorite in game 3, minus $2 or so, a little higher than that for the series.
I would lean towards betting angles. If anything, I would lead Sixers game 3, but Celtics for the series. And if you're thinking Sixers can get game 3, might as well wait for the series for Celtics.
I mean, I hit Celtics minus 120 after they lost game one. It was like, yes, please give me all that. But
Yeah.
like, what's the deal with Embiid for game three? Then if you're talking Sixers,
Yeah,
I would
I
imagine he's going to play.
he's definitely going to play. It's just a matter of I think the Sixers, the key with the Sixers, even if he's not healthy, they still got to play through him in terms of Joel Embiid with one leg in the post can do a lot more than just score. So like there was moments yesterday where we look good. I just think the Sixers have to, whether or not he's a decoy or not, if he's out there, they can't treat him like PJ Tucker. Like there were some possessions where he was still setting the screens up at the high post. He was still doing the motions correctly, but it looked like James Harden didn't even look at him in terms of as a threat. Even if he is injured, you have to at least make it look like he's a threat. And I think that's what they got to learn for game 3, where you can't almost say, okay, this guy's not feeling it. We're not even going to look his direction because he's still Joel Embiid, and you got to respect it no matter what.
well, and
So
I think actually, where I think they actually cared about getting him out there, maybe on top of getting him some actual burn for the first time in 2 weeks, it was also like he had 5 blocks in the first half,
Yeah.
and I think there was something to the fact that the Celtics had 62 points in the paint in game one, and if you look at their shot chart, it's just a sea of circles inside of the right next to the rim.
Yeah.
So it's like we can't let that happen. Paul, B-ball Paul, God bless him, is 6'9". Like he's not intimidating
Yeah.
yeah,
anybody at
he's
the
not
rim.
protecting the rim for
I
Yeah.
sure.
will say
So
this.
yeah.
In a perfect world, I want my Sixers to have that defensive presence they had last night with Embiid at the rim, but also the offense because like they only won in game 1 because their offense was just unreal. They couldn't hit a shot yesterday. They shot what 37%. It was just, I mean, Will Hill could be out there shooting
But
like
well,
the
first,
same or better.
I heard he's wet from three, so I don't want to talk about Will's game like that. But like more
Yeah.
importantly, like with what we're talking about, like it's just time to talk about James Harden then, because James Harden, when he's Rockets James Harden as he was in game one, because there's no that he is the option, and now his ego is fulfilled and he can just do whatever he wants with the offense. Great, I can take 14 threes. Awesome. That's great. The problem is that when Embiid even steps on the floor, now you have James Harden standing next to the logo, like at center court. You know what I mean? Like he's standing in the corner, just literally watching. Like he's just dragging Jaylen Brown away from the play. Maybe he thinks he's helping by keeping Jaylen like out of the mix more on defense as such a good defender, but probably not. It's just more of James Harden standing there, and if he doesn't have the ball in his hand running pick and roll, he is a detriment to your offense. You're not playing 4-on-5 at least, So.
Yeah, I mean, you're
A
not
couple
gonna,
more things on this. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, you're not going to win many games where the Celtics put up 92 shots, Sixers put up 79. Like that, they just had too many turnovers, and it just looked like they forgot how to play basketball. That's honestly what it looked like. It looked like they didn't know how to use this version of Joel Embiid, and the offense just looked super choppy.
Couple more things on this series before we move on to the game tonight. We got one game tonight, and then we're back to 2 tomorrow, and we're on more of a normal schedule here. Weird schedule where some of these teams playing every other night. Some of them have 3 days off. Talk me out of Celtics minus 140 to win the East. Who keeps them out of the finals?
I mean, I'm happy to talk about my Knicks because, but
I'd love to see it. When I had the Bucks big series prices that went down in flames when Giannis got hurt. I said, let me get like a little mini hedge here, and Knicks were 25 to 1 to win the East. So I do have like a little sprinkle of Knicks, but can they actually do this? Can they actually keep them out of the finals?
You start with Jimmy Butler. Like, is Jimmy Butler healthy at all? If he is, like, no. Like, they just almost lost to Jimmy Butler's, you know what I mean? Like band of whomever. Like that, all of a sudden they're the
Caleb Martin, baby.
They're back up for the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, like they're just draining threes. Their guards are better at rebounding than Mitchell Robinson. Like what? So if that's going to be the case, then like I don't even necessarily feel that comfortable that the Celtics are better than the Heat at this point. I already hit the Heat at 6-1 to take the East right before the Knicks series started, and was just like, whatever. Let's see who bludgeons who in that Celtics series. This is gonna be a bloody series with the Knicks. I'm definitely not gonna trash talk my guys, Jalen or Julius Randle at this point. Like they bring it. Josh Hart as well, I should mention, but like. I don't know that they have enough with the way that they showed out in game 2 to beat this team with Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is we talk about all the time with playoffs. You need to be a great team, but you also need to be healthy. And sadly, the Heat, the Suns now, the Sixers, they're not healthy. So the Celtics have health on their side, which is it's almost half the battle. It's just the fact they have their players out there.
You mentioned you like the Sixers in game 3. Why do you like them tomorrow?
I guess you want to. I don't want to say I'm too biased with it, but the Sixers have just been so good at home, and I think if Joel Embiid can be half of what he was, like a little bit better than we saw on last night, I just think that he's gonna get the environment with the MVP, and I just think after losing that big, I just feel like Sixers coming back home. If James Harden cannot shoot 2 for 14 from 3, and they can actually put together an offense, I think it'd be. I would lean to. What's the spread in that game?
1.5, basically a pick 'em.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's a pick 'em, I don't know. I could be biased, but I just think the Sixers. I mean, I was at both playoff games for the Sixers so far this year. I'll be there Friday. I just think that place is so wild that I feel like it can environment can carry a team sometime.
But doesn't that like, so if we were looking at this at like 5.5, 6.5 dogs at home, I'd be like, let me get it. The pick 'em, the even money for the money line on that one to take Philly is just like a spot where I'm like, man, this seems like the spot where the Celtics almost feel like underdogs in that sense. If you're going to treat them like that with this spread when they just won by like the biggest margin ever, right? So I'm a little bit nervous on that. I think like with Embiid in there, even if he's going to be in there for like a half and a quarter like he was last game, I still like an under at 214. I was slamming the under live. It's the only thing that saved me at all last night was that, I just hit the under at like 214, 211, I hit it out like 4 different times. And it ended up like 208. So I think
the under is a great move.
Yeah, like is 214. As soon as I saw Joel out there, and it was like, oh man, okay, great. Like they're not even putting him in the post, whatever. Yeah. So I mean, is there a world where like 214 is still 217 to me at that point? With Joel out there and the pace that they play as a result.
I would
I
like
think
Philly a lot more tomorrow if they were down 2. I feel like at 1-1, Boston's got their wake-up call. They had their humiliating loss. I feel like you're not going to catch them sort of napping. So I don't have a play for it. I don't know what
yeah, I don't
which
think
way
I'm
I
betting
lean
either
for it.
side.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm betting
Yeah.
either side. I guess the key for the Sixers here is they have to learn to play with Embiid on the court, but also the reason they won game one is that with those Paul Reed minutes or those PJ Tucker at center minutes, they just ran so much crazy high pace and they outpaced the Celtics. I think their key to winning this is to have that change of pace almost immediately. Like when Joel checks out, I want to see Tucker at the 5 or Paul Reed at the 5 and immediately just go like almost 0 to 100 at the pace. That's going to be their biggest thing is switching up the pace throughout the game. But
Yeah.
I like I don't know. It's going to be tough. I will say in a pick'em, I don't have a play in either side. I will obviously be rooting one way, and I do think the Wells Fargo Center is just a crazy environment.
Let's get to the game tonight. This is one I do have an opinion on. We are up to 6.5 now, though, with the Warriors, and I gave this out. I missed the 4.5 with my channel. I stayed up late just to bet it, and this is a good lesson I think going forward. Teams lose game 1 at home. Just stay up. These books, they post a line for game 2 almost right away. Just bet them in game 2. Like the Knicks lose game 1 to the Heat, they open 4.5. That closed 10. So if you got the 4.5, like I gave out the other day, and look, I lose plenty too. I don't want to, be like I win all the time, but just when teams lose game 1 at home, bet them right away for game 2. Then the line's going to go in your favor, almost always barring some sort of crazy injury. So we're up to 6.5. I think the Warriors get it done. I'd still be okay laying the 6.5. I don't like taking a bad number, but to me, this feels like a get right spot. Davis played the whole second half the other night. That doesn't feel sustainable. The pace was crazy. Warriors took 106 shots, 53 3-pointers. I just don't know that LeBron and Davis can manage that minute load. I think they saw their shot to steal a game and they took it. So I like the Warriors tonight. Josh, let's start with you. What do you got here for tonight?
Yeah, no, I wanted to say something real quick too, because the NBA playoffs are kind of unique in how you can bet them. So when you talk about the opening lines like that, I think it's more important in the playoffs than even in the regular season. In these playoffs, these books are getting these lines out pretty early, like you said, like right after a game. Sometimes like in the end of the fourth quarter, you might see a line pop up here and there, and there's a little bit less like just price discovery going on. These books can't search each other out, see what the other one's playing. It's just their small team of nerds trying to figure it out real quick on the fly, like all of us, with limited information about who's playing and how hobbled Embiid is, etc. So like, fully agree, you're not going to find a better opportunity than the playoffs to like take advantage of an early line like right now. So on that with you, I'm taking a Warriors money line, and I'm just figuring out ways to get it in
Right.
there. It just keeps rising, and I'm not really trying to feel that. The thing that really it comes down to for me is like, will you mentioned Davis's minutes, LeBron's minutes, will the Lakers give up? Like, if this is out of control in the third quarter, I'm probably just going to hit a Warriors second half bet as soon as I can get it. And when the third quarter is about to pop off, if it's close at halftime, definitely love that as well. I could see a world where, LeBron and team still try. Like, if you look at game 2 in the Memphis series, LeBron and AD played close to 40 minutes each. They basically played 39 each. LeBron had 28, his most in the series. So it was like another situation where we were all like, well, yeah, we're going to take Memphis to win this game. And they won it by double digits when all was said and done. But like, couple things, love and under for sure as a result of that, because I do think that those tired legs of the Lakers mean, even if there are a barrage of threes from the Dubs, like we're going under 227.5. And the other thing is, just like I said, just figure out ways to get the Dubs to win this game. I do think you can, it's worth it here and there to put a little bit on taking the spread, because even if LeBron and AD are still trying in the third and fourth quarter, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have the gas to be effective. They lost by double digits in last game too. I think that's very possible right now, but I think there's also some other stuff you can count on, some props and things like that you can just go ahead and throw in with the Dubs money line and still feel pretty good about all that, which is what I did yesterday.
Yeah, just play it safe and do Vanderbilt double and a win. Just now. Okay. I think I'm with Will there. I mean, it sounds so stupid at times because you talk about 15 in a row, this and that, but sometimes you don't have to overthink it. And that home court advantage after losing game 1 is so big. So I do like that. But the only prop I would say is Jared Vanderbilt is a guy we talked about before the show, at least Josh and I did, where if the Lakers do give up 2, where it's one of those things where, maybe we're going to rest some guys for minutes, Vanderbilt's a guy that's going to see a bit minutes. You saw it with Tyrese Maxey yesterday. That each team has that one player that's like a starter or like a big role player that will play either way, just because they have fresher legs or this or that. So if you watch that game, there was a foul that Anthony Davis had. They called on Anthony Davis. LeBron and Anthony Davis went to the refs, which I've never seen before. A ref actually agree with them but they tried to get the foul off Vanderbilt and get it on AD for
Yeah.
the sole reason that they didn't want Vanderbilt to get that fifth foul. So that's big to me because his PR line is 11.5. And if you want the two GMs of Anthony Davis and LeBron James that basically run that team, if they want you on the court, you're going to get minutes. And he's actually having a pretty decent postseason. So that's the only prop I would look in this game. And for sides, I'm with Will all the way with the Dubs.
Yeah, real quick, I want to say something about Jared Vanderbilt because I love that. That's like one of the first things you said about this game was like Jared Vanderbilt 11.5 points and rebounds. I actually like it. It not only is he going to get minutes because they want him on. I mean, they want him out there because if you look at just in the playoffs anyway, his on-off numbers are like incredible in terms of when he's on the floor, that team is 100 defensive rating. When he's off it, they have 121 defensive rating, and he's averaging like 23 minutes, right? So in the other 20 whatever minutes, 25 minutes, like that team is the worst defensive team in the league. When he's on the floor in 23 minutes, they're the best defensive team in the league. Like imagine saying and telling yourself that at some point AD was going to be asking for the foul to be on him so Jared Vanderbilt could stay in the game. Like that's actually how he guarded Steph the entire time he was on the floor.
Yeah.
He's the only dude who limited him in any way, shape, or form while he was out there hitting 6 threes in that game. So like you got to have him out there for that. If he's out there for close to or more than 30 minutes, like I know they want him to be, then like dude's going to gobble up like 7 boards already. And then you just got to get a few points. So
it felt like they did a good job taking the ball out of Steph's hands too. It felt like Steph was playing off the ball a lot the other night, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, even that last possession, the whole should he have not have Jordan Poole thing. I mean,
I like that half court three. I thought that was a good shot.
I will say this. I actually
see both terrible shot.
I see both sides of the story because you had time, but also I see the sides of like he was hot. An open three in basketball. I know it was deep, but like, do you get another open three?
Right.
You probably don't. So I can kind of understand but
just like one dribble,
step up,
you're still gathered. Like there's nobody in front of you. You're down by one.
But it does show a credit that at that point Steph Curry was guarded very well the entire game, where he felt the need to take that shot, which is big. So that's the only thing I can see that prop with. I actually hate taking Lakers props. Like all year, they've just been such a frustrating team to try to go player prop route with. But he is one guy that I think is a little bit lower of a line.
Well, because go ahead, Will.
No, I was just gonna say I was gonna move on. I was gonna say I bet LeBron under the other night, and I would bet him again. I just don't think he looks the same. His lateral quickness. I don't know if it's the foot, if it's age. You can never call LeBron a role player, but he's never had a supporting cast that really supported him more, if this makes sense. He just sort of blends in with the game. I think he's at 25.5. Again, if you think they get blown out when he takes some minutes off, it's hard for LeBron, barring some barrage from three, which he has not shot the three well at all here. It's always possible. I would look at an under for LeBron, but go ahead.
No, I'm with you, dude. Like he was at 25.5 in game 1. I should have been off it a little bit more. It's interesting because, like I said, in game 2 of last year's, he dropped 28. And that's his highest output for the playoffs right now. This year. In fact, he scored 30, I think, once in their last twice in their last 25 playoff games going back to the bubble. So he doesn't drop that many points in the playoffs anymore. He's only hit 25 or more, 3 times in these playoffs now through 7 games or 8 games, 7 games, whatever. So I'm with you on that. I think there's some stuff that I'm just like, this feels like things that are sort of the floor for these guys, where we're talking about rebounds for Looney and AD. People are waiting for them to come down from the whatever cloud that they're on, just grabbing all the boards, 23 each in the last one, both averaging 15 or 16 boards a game at this point in the playoffs. I believe them at this point. So there's a couple of things with I'm taking Looney and AD 12 boards each. I'm going under on LeBron assists actually as well. If you take under 6.5, so he can get 6 or fewer, which he's done once in this playoffs. He's gotten 7 assists at this point. And I think it takes up too much out of him to get assists, just like it does points. So both of them continue to sort of drop in that sense. So I'm taking all 3 of those things together with the Dubs to win. And that's plus 240. If you all of that stuff sort of correlates to an under as well, which I feel really good about. So if you throw that in there, you actually bump it all the way up to about 4 to 1 on your money on DraftKings specifically for those 4-ish things in there. And it's just sort of a little bevy of very solid bets that you don't get that much juice for, but together you can get some pretty nice money back there.
Yeah, and in the chat, Sean Boy from the Discord says that he wants Iguodala for that shot. So fate of the universe on the line. He wants Iguodala, which is still my favorite quote of all time. So that's what we're going with there. It's
I
it,
think he
it,
still has
it
a job.
ages
How does
so
Max still have a
well.
job?
Yeah, it's just the way he doubled down on it. He could have just said, you could have just answered the question. You know, you could have just answered the question and said Iguodala, but he had to go all for it.
Got to zag.
What's Draymond's role in this series? Can he, if he can't guard Davis,
None.
he looks sort of not useless out there, but he's just, I don't know. Davis really dominated the game. He's not. It's another guy for the Lakers not to have didn't have to guard. Is he really? Is he going to lose minutes? Do you think that's in play, or is that too
I think
too reactionary?
I think we covered it last show on Tuesday where me and Brad were talking about it, where and Josh kind of hinted at it, where Kevon Looney, he almost won the Warriors series last game, like the last series. He gave them 9 offensive rebounds in Game 7. Like he's just a guy where he's a problem, and you can't really like the Lakers. Same with the Kings, they don't have anyone to box him out. He keeps getting these offensive rebounds. Draymond Green is gonna probably lose minutes just because Looney's role is becoming so defined. I mean, I saw on Twitter someone mentioned that I bet the Warriors are regretting not having James Wiseman watching like Kevon Looney get cooked
Who
by
is that
Anthony
person?
Davis. Yeah, I don't know. It was sent to me. I'll send it to you because I forget who it was.
Please.
Because I think it was one of those things where it's like, oh, people are gonna comment now. I don't know, but it was a weird comment. But yeah, Kevon Looney. I mean, it's gonna be hard to stop Draymond. I mean, AD, whether you're Draymond Green or Looney. So I think his role just as a second chance creator is just so big for them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, that's true, but I don't think Draymond's like Looney's there. He was the second most important player in that Kings series, so he's locked at like at least 30 minutes as a big man. You know, he only got 30 last game. I actually was making the statement that like he's got to play closer to 35 than that. He's that important to their team because of their, there's some not necessarily a lack of ingenuity on the offense at this point. It's one of the most ingenious offenses ever. It's more of just like the stamina and age of the players that they rely on are just pretty up there. So like Looney's ability to get you the most important thing, according to most stat nerds in basketball, the most like valuable thing in the world is an offensive rebound. So his ability to do that's too important. I think for Draymond though, like one of the things I saw about him in last game that was bananas was he had 21 potential assists in that last game. He had 7 assists, but the fact that he's the dude making the pass right before the shot 21 other times is pretty crazy, right? And like 4 of those ended up in free throw attempts. They only ended up with 6. So you know what I mean? Like he's too important to the offense to necessarily come out for Looney minutes. It's really more of a matter of like, is Jordan Poole going to come in, Wiggins and Draymond and Poole? Like Wiggins is probably out there no matter what, defending the best player on the other team in the wing. So like, yeah, at this point, like I think you count on Draymond being out there, and it's really a matter of like, is Poole coming in for offense for somebody else like Wiggins, or are they continuing to kind of keep their defensive lineup out there?
Because Wiggins played 35 minutes, which is I don't want to say surprising, but I thought he'd be more in the 30-minute range. So I think it's really going to be a matter of, I mean, we talked about the Kings before, where they're so good at putting the best player out there in a given game and not having the repercussions. It's going to be a matter of how well Steve Kerr trusts himself to assess that and figure out on the fly, this person had a flat first quarter, you're going to be losing some minutes for insert, if Poole gives you a spark, or even DiVincenzo got some decent minutes. Like they actually had like a 10-man rotation, which was pretty crazy. You don't usually see that. Usually you see that like 8-man. But yeah, I mean,
Kuminga's really fallen out of favor too. It seems like.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I was told that he was going to get minutes in this series. I was told by some people covering the team that they thought that he was going to get more minutes in this series as like a backup big. But real quick, someone Y2K actually put in the chat here on Twitch, what do you guys think about D'Angelo points? And I just wanted to talk about that for 1 sec. It's at like 15.5. And I think this actually is a good moment to take him. I think it's a good question. And I'm basing that entirely on 5 for 26 from deep in game 1. If the Lakers go 5 for 26 again without the ability to have AD just absolutely pound, and he can, but like we keep saying, 44 minutes, 30 points and 23 rebounds ain't going to happen like necessarily with one night off for that dude at this point. So with D'Angelo in there, like, and the fact that, they're going to need that shooting, you saw him come out in like the fourth quarter at a time where maybe he wouldn't be out there, except for that they couldn't hit a 3, and they saw the Warriors doing that, and it was almost their downfall. If those guys hit 1 or 2 more at the end on the dubs there, it's a different game at that point.
Plus 145 on the Warriors. A good time to jump in now in the series, or no?
Oh, actually, I didn't realize it was plus 1. That's like 150. Okay, that's not bad at all.
I was telling you guys beforehand, I put a bunch on the Dubs to lose game 1 and win the series. And I got that at
Wow.
about 6-1, like plus
Wow.
550 basically. So I'm kind of chilling right now. I want to see what happens in game 2 before I start going that route because of what I've already got on it, you know. And I know I'm going to lose the juice, but I was saying that, like, one of my buddies was like, yo, if I was talking to him and I was like, I'm all over Lakers game 1. And I was like, he was like, yeah, if that happens, go ahead and make sure you hit Dubs right after that, you know, after they go down 1-0. And I go, I'm already ahead of that. Like, I'm just going to take it at 5.5 to 1 that's going to be the case. Why would I hit it again at plus 145, you know?
Interesting.
No, so that worked out. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think about with Russell is, I mean, his volume's crazy. They need the shooting. And even if you see more Schroeder for the defensive reasons, I don't think Schroeder is the guy that's going to take too much volume from Russell in that offense. So, I mean, 1 for 5. You mentioned you're a Knicks guy. I'm 3-0 right now in Jalen Brunson bets where I just take him. I take his over in points whenever he goes over from 3. So like game 1, it was over 7.
Oh, yeah.
So I took his over in 3s and in points. It just seems like he's a guy that he always the difference with him is his 3. So it's so funny that whenever he has a bad 3-point night, I always seem to back Jalen Brunson. I love that guy.
Brilliant. No, brilliant. I love that, dude. He's like Jimmy Butler-esque in that sense. That's one of the things that keeps me from just being like, I already hit the Heat. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, my fellow Knicks fans. I did hit them at minus 120 as well at this point because I think they're a better bet than the Knicks after what I saw in game 2. But Jalen Brunson's, like, let's call it chutzpah, if you will, is the thing that keeps me from feeling too bad about them. You know, so I that's a great bet every time he goes bad. Next game, hit him to go over for sure.
And then I rage bet him over 19.5 because he only had 7 points. He was like 1 for 9 shooting, and I was like, this is like crazy. I was like, Jalen. So like I'm a Delco person, so like I would go to some Villanova games, and I was like, come on, Jalen Brunson. I was like, so maybe it was a little biased, but I was doing that thing where I was defending him until I was homeless, but he came through for that.
Love it.
Before we move on to the other 2 series and we get out of here, just quickly, who wins this series and how many games? Warriors, Lakers.
Dubs and 7.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
7 or I know we talked about 6, but I think 7 feels right now that you get the game 1 for the Lakers.
Usually when the road team wins game 1, it's a longer series, barring something crazy.
I don't want to sound like a dick, but like, which game does AD miss?
Yeah, I mean,
you always have to think about
give that one to the Dubs. That's why it could be 6.
What you got, Brian?
Yeah.
I'll go with 7 because I know we talked about 6 earlier, but the Lakers getting game 1. I feel like you get the Dubs at home in game 7.
I picked the Warriors already, and I hate to just jump off, but if I hadn't picked it, and like if you gave me true serum right now, who wins? I'd probably say Lakers in 6.
Wow. I'm glad you're sticking to your guns in the sense that you don't have a choice, but still good.
No, I think I picked the Warriors before the series, but I think if
I'm with it, dude.
Like, I'm right.
Steph Curry's different for sure.
It'll be interesting to see because we saw it with the 2-0 Kings where it's like, oh, is this the end of the dynasty? And then it's like, holy shit, they just won by 40 in an elimination game.
Right.
Like, so it's gonna be.
You can't count the Warriors out. I got to see him lose 5 times. Forget 4. I got to see him lose 5 times. Like Michael Myers, you shoot him twice in the head, and he rubs his ear and he keeps walking. Like they're a champion.
They're like Transformer movies. They'll never die.
Yeah. No, 100%. Well, real quick, have you guys found any exact series prices for that? Exact result?
Correct series score, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're up. Let me look at DraftKings.
I was trying to find them yesterday. Maybe it was because
they're up right now. Warriors in 7 plus 300.
Okay.
Lakers in 6 plus 300. It's plus 310, but just rounding it off.
Yeah.
Lakers to sweep is only 5-1. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Lakers in 5 plus 550. No, thank you. Warriors in 6 plus 650.
Okay.
It's not terrible. Lakers in 7 plus 650. Not terrible. Warriors to win in 5, which means they win the next 4 is 12-1. I don't love anything there. I guess.
Yeah, for me,
whoever I liked at 6 at plus 650.
Yeah, for me, the only thing worth it would be like even just sprinkling a bit on both of those, 6 and 7 for the Warriors, 6 or 7 for the Warriors. I get 3-1.
Anybody in minus 125, you can get the Warriors plus 1.5 in the series. That's not bad either.
That's great.
That's a bet.
That's wonderful. And cover yourself for game 7. That's great.
Yeah, I might take that because that just means you have to at least go 7 or the Warriors win it, and anything less than
It's excellent math by you. And look, I don't get, we talked about this a little before the off the air. I don't get like why these teams. I know that when you lose game 1 at home, you're so much hungrier and you're motivated. These teams that steal game 1 on the road, they seem so satisfied with the split. Give Miami credit; they weren't. They went for the win the other night. Go up 2-0, end the series. You can't just assume you're going to win every game at home. Like Warriors are probably going to steal one in LA. You got to just go up 2-0. These teams, they seem so satisfied when they win one on the road and they just punt on game 2. And lot of times it comes back to haunt them.
Yeah, and I honestly, I couldn't tell if the Sixers doing Embiid playing. I couldn't tell if that was them. What I was trying to say, get him minutes and accepting the 1-1, or if that was them going for the win. I hope it's the latter, because if that was their chance to go up 2-0, it was really pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing to add there.
Yeah.
And I always think if you're the lower seed, if you're serious about winning the series, you have to be up 3-1 after 4. Because if you're 2-2 after 4, game 5's on the road, game 7's on the road, you're a big underdog there. I think if you really want to win a series as the lower seed, to be in good position, probably got to be not always, obviously. I mean, you could win it if you're 2-2, but I think you probably should be up 3-1 if you really want to win the series.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, like Jimmy's too important to the Heat in that sense. Like it was sitting him for that game.
Oh,
too,
that makes sense. Absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, like so yeah. But I would agree. Like if you're the Lakers tonight, like yeah, you can go for it. But I was also thinking, and I'll probably bring it up like damn near every time we talk about the NBA. But like if you're watching what Denver's doing to Phoenix right now, going they might win in 5. And then they're going to have the altitude in the home court while they're waiting for us for a week. And they have 7 really good players, not like 2 great and 5 really good players. Like I'd be scared as hell. And if LeBron's playing chess like he normally does, right, then like he's got to be both these teams are considering like you're playing strategy. I know you're playing with fire when you just sort of toss a game here and there, which is dumb. But yeah, I think back against the wall for the Warriors, they're not scared of a game 7 at all, and are happy to have to play that if they do. So
I mean, you mentioned you have to be up 3-1 if you're lower seed. I think if you want to win a playoff series, you just gotta win 4 games before the other team does.
Solid.
JD just said build a 4-game SGP on the air. What anything you guys?
Wait, 4 leg, right? For this game tonight. All right, so Vanderbilt 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Vanderbilt 10 points. Looney 20 rebounds. That's 4.
Yo, what time? When is Brad back?
Oh shit! Am I getting replaced by Brad again?
Dude.
No. So I would say if we get 4 legs, I mean, just based on what we talked about earlier in the show, would you experiment with something with Warriors money line, Vanderbilt like maybe 4+ rebounds, D'Lo's points, and then I don't know you mentioned you like Draymond's assists, maybe like 6+ or something like that.
I already put down my 4 leg, to be honest. It's what I mentioned earlier. So yeah,
thanks for making me look like an idiot there. That was fun.
Nah, dude, you're great. I didn't want to interrupt you. I would have made you been worse, but like, I was talking earlier about like these rebounds for AD. So I'm talking under in this game. So like any combination of what I'm talking about: Looney 12 rebounds, AD 12 rebounds, LeBron under 7 assists, and then the Dubs to win or an under as the sort of game prop in there. Both of those, like all that correlates, honestly. And both of those, but the money line for the Dubs and the under and the 227.5 both work. I was going to say too, real quick, I'm a dipshit and didn't log into Twitch, which is now being a pain in the ass. So I can't really respond to people who are talking to us there. But I'll get back to you guys as soon as I'm logged in next time we're on the show. But that would be my 4 game right there. Like I said, if you want to throw the money line or the under in that game, the money line for the Dubs or the under, I'm going with the 80 boards, 80 Looney boards, and LeBron under assists, 7 assists, under 7.
And then once I'll do a request a bit on Twitter. I'm trying to figure out how to build out a triple-double for Vanderbilt. It's not really letting me do it.
I would say I have a 3-legger one that I just think is interesting. Again, this isn't really my strength, but Warriors money line. And if you want to take the angle that LeBron and Davis are going to call it a night early, Lakers are just going to punt on this game if they get down early, which is possible. You can go do some under alternative with Davis under 23.5 points, LeBron under 22.5 points, Warriors money line plus 675.
I like you.
I'm not sure if I want to bet this game in terms of singles, so I might figure something out and ride it with you guys like a 4-leg.
Yeah.
I'm definitely having some stake in Vanderbilt one way or the other. So he's going to be added to mine. So don't worry about that.
I love it, dude.
All right, quickly, the other series, Heat, Knicks. Josh, you like the Heat. I sort of lean towards the Heat pending Butler's health, which is a big question. Brian, anything on that? Game 3 is by 3, and it's about a coin flip for the series. I kind of lean towards the Heat on the series here.
I would say this is one of those games where I think our famous our famous quote we've been saying is we like to bet, not guess. And that's the only thing is I can't take any action on the series just because you're guessing on Butler's health. The only person that knows how healthy Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. So he's such a big part of this series where I won't have any action with it. My girlfriend's dad's a big Knicks fan. I guess I could root for the Knicks as like a fun thing, but outside of that, I don't know if I can put money down on hoping a guy's healthy or not healthy.
He's so damn competitive. I just assume with a week off, he's going to be okay. But ankles are tricky, and if he's compromised, like the Knicks did a terrible job not going after him the other day when he was hurt. With that, like 5 minutes to go, they just didn't attack him at all defensively. But if he's hampered at all, that definitely swings things. I just think if he is healthy, Butler's the best player, Spoelstra's the better coach. Adebayo might be the second best player in the series, and they shoot it better, and they have home court. So again, I'm with you. Although Butler's health is a big part of it. Maybe a good live betting chance. Anything to add, Josh, before we move on to?
Just real quick on that series. Like, I'm continuing to go over on these games. Like the Heat are pushing the crap out of the tempo because they have Jimmy Butler and a band of shooters, and that's really it. And even Bam as their center is still able to push the pace and even run the point at times. So like the 208.5 until it gets to 210.5 as they start setting the lines, because it's gone up since it was 207.5 in game one. And like, this isn't the 90s Knicks and Heat, dude. This is like a bunch of 3-point shooters and the most grizzled dude ever on Jimmy Butler, and then just some like dogs as well on the Knicks, to be honest. So,
and you get guys like Love who can shoot it, but they aren't good defensively. Like, I do think it's a little more offensive series. Like, I was on the under the first game. I think I lost by a point, and that's one where depends when you bet it, because it landed right on the middle. It went from 207 to 210. I think it landed right on 209 with a garbage basket. But I agree. I think it might be a little more offensive series than I originally anticipated. To me, Suns Nuggets is over. I think Nuggets get a split in Phoenix and they win in 5. I didn't think Phoenix had enough bodies with Chris Paul. Without Chris Paul, look, they have Durant, they have Booker. Maybe they can win a game. For this team to win 4 out of 5 with this just lack of continuity, lack of depth, to me, Denver is going to march on here. They've been slept on for so long. They had the 1 seed wrapped up. They took their foot off the gas, and everyone just got off them. Jokic isn't the MVP. Denver's not any good. They look pretty good so far. I think Denver wins this series probably in 5 games. Wouldn't be shocked if it's a sweep. Any of you guys have anything to add here in this one game 3 or the series?
I feel like KD or Booker has one of those games to at least prevent a sweep. Not saying they're going to win the series, but I think 5 or 6. I think there's too much firepower where if one of them gets like really, really hot, I think they can steal one of these, especially at home. Like, so maybe in 5.
Man, they really should have won that game the other night. Man, Denver just played so badly. Murray couldn't make a 3. That was the one to steal.
There was the fourth quarter, and they had their shot. But like, the only thing I would add, dude, like nothing to change from what you're saying. Like, they win 1 at home, they lose 5 in Denver. Even if they were to like pull some crazy stuff out of their butt and win game 5 of the Suns and they go back home, like, I'd still take Denver in 6 at that point, honestly. So I'm fine with either of those. But I think something interesting to just like quickly talk about the Suns is like, they actually made this move for the future. As weird as that sounds, like there had to be some part of Monty Williams that was like, we can't win if you just steal all of our defenders. Like, and the Lakers are the prime example of like, they won a championship with amazing defense and offense. They lose all of it because they're dumb. They get it back and now they're good again. Like, they're a great example of that. And so for the Suns, they were like, no, we'll give all that away because we're probably not winning a championship this year with the Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson Suns, but like we might not be winning a championship this year with the KD Booker Suns, but next year, if we add some people that are like, we get some guys in the right
shots. Ring chasers. That's the problem. They added them too late. They didn't have any time to get the buyout guys.
This year, but they have them both for 2 more years.
Right.
They have both Book and KD for 2 more. So like, now you've got an offseason to build a little bit, at least enough to just plug in some more stuff than Josh Okogie and like Terrence Ross, right?
And it's one of those situations that you better win one or you better get there, because it's like what the Clippers gave up for Kawhi and Paul George, man. That future, they gave up all those picks. He gave up Bridges, who looks like he's going to be an all-star. You kind of look. I admire it. I don't think it was like a dumb trade. It's Kevin Durant. I understand it, but there's a bill coming.
Just wait until the Suns gear up with Dylan Brooks and their defense shoots out of the
Draymond. If the Dubs lose this series, go ahead and book Draymond Green on the Suns next year.
I thought him for the Suns or maybe even the Kings, as weird as that would be. The Kings could use a defender like that.
You're 100% right, but I think he'd probably go to the Suns and just be like, I'm old, y'all are old, let's do this together.
Can they make that work cap-wise? I don't not smart enough to know.
You would have to take some,
All right, anything else, guys?
No, but we should, next time we do this, dude, we should definitely give the Nugs a little bit more praise. Hashtag, Nug Nation there, because I think they're a good bet right now in general. Like, that depth is for real, and their ability to play as a unit is for real. So I know they're not playing until tomorrow night, and whenever we get back on here and talk about them, though, we should definitely give them some love.
I have a feeling we'll have most of June to give them some love. I think they're going to the finals. I think this is a little bit. I could see a Jokic apology tour coming where he's just putting up 30 every night in the finals. Be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have been shitting on this guy all along. He's pretty damn good.
Facts.
Yeah.
And Brian, Josh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you mentioned Nuggets. Just one last thing is that as bad as their defense has been in the regular season, it's showing in the playoffs that they're actually stepping up and they're actually contesting shots. Where
Right.
it's crazy that defense wins championship actually holds some value to it because they played garbage
Right.
last game on the offensive end, but they helped. I mean, they were helped by the fact the Suns can't hit any threes, but they still closed out shots and they made it a little bit difficult. So
And I think
that's
the
the
one
one thing
last
the Suns are missing.
Yeah, the one last thing I would say, usually a great team wins the NBA championship. Whoever wins it this year, there are no great teams. Like the Celtics, they're really good, but they're flawed. We saw them piss away a couple of games. The Nuggets are good. They're not a great team. It's just it's sort of like college basketball, like the NFL. We see this where there's a lot of parity, where there's not that dominant great team. I think the point differential bears it out, where it's just sort of a league of parity, which is fun. It makes for some upsets. It makes it a little harder to bet it sometimes, but it makes it fun.
I think the NBA can survive that. I know they need dynasties for ratings during games, and ratings have been down a bit, but like you have a Steph LeBron series right now, it'll probably outdo any numbers every single conference finals game does.
Durant,
at least in
Jokic,
the Western Conference.
It's great.
Yeah, but I think like this is pretty good for basketball fans in general. And then as long as you can maintain the like proper heightening up of your stars and publicizing of your stars, right, getting their shine, like you can keep people interested and get new people in this. So I think it's in a good spot.
And I don't think you can have a bad finals too. I mean, it's either going to be LeBron or Curry, Durant or Jokic. I mean, we don't think it's going to be Durant, but you're going to have a big star
Vanderbilt or Kevon Looney.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean,
so you're going to have a big star from the West. You're probably either going to have the Celtics, or if the Sixers got there and that'd be a good story. The Knicks would be a good story. I don't know.
I will say you mentioned how fun this playoffs is. This is one of those playoffs where I truly was thinking to myself, holy shit. I was like with my friends watching the Sixers. I was like, dude, this is the year that like it's kind of open. The Bucks are out. This could be it. Like this team can play defense. We have good offense, and then Embiid tore his knee. So it was fun.
The Celtics have. I mean, look at the path. You get the beat up Sixers team. You get either the Knicks or the Heat.
They lost 2 to the Hawks.
I know. They lost 2 games in 5 days. It's like 11-point favorite.
That Celtics team that won the chip with Garnett went to Game 7 for like every single
against them. Yeah, they did.
Period.
Like, he was trying to make as much money. That's what he was trying to do. He was just betting on the games.
That was one of the stranger series ever. That round 1 is 2008, so it's a long ago. People don't remember against the Hawks, where every home team won by 1,000,000 points.
Shout out Paul Millsap.
Team was not any good.
Big
and who's the guy there was a guy in Atlanta who goes, "We're going to Game 7." He went on. I forget. It's a famous YouTube clip, but yeah, it was a random series.
So good.
All right, boys. Anything else?
That's all I got. I'll just close out by saying if NJC's watching this, I think the Detroit Tigers are the best team ever. They're about to sweep the Mets.
Verlander greeted right away with a couple of homers. I got his under K prop, so I'm rooting for it's weird to root sweat an under K prop. You're just rooting for contact, I guess. I usually have the overs. I don't bet a lot of unders.
Yeah, but if NJC's watching this, Detroit Tigers are about to sweep the Mets with a Verlander Scherzer series.
Yeah, when your 2 best pitchers are 50 years old, that's usually not a good strategy.
Yeah. Well, so crazy that they're all ending up on IL. It's wild.
Yeah, it is. All right, boys. Josh, Brian, thank you guys. Pickett Sports. We will be back Tuesday. Check out all our shows throughout the week and the weekend. Till then, see you next time.